What's up, crew? Welcome to the Ghost and Clover podcast. Also, welcome, I guess, to the squad. Man, I'm so used to my own. That happens sometimes. But yeah, the squad and the crew out there hanging out with us. Hopefully tonight, June 9th, 2024, is the date on the record. We're powered by, uh, per usual, last year or so anyway, our good friends over at European American Armory. And we'll talk ad nauseum about them here a little later on. I want to say a big shout out to the Self Defense Radio Network, which Ghost is, of course, a part of, and then the Arms Radio Network that him and both are a part of. Go over there, check those out. Great podcast. I've been doing a lot of work specifically over there on the Arms Radio Network, so I think you'll find a lot of cool stuff being added over the coming days, weeks, months, potentially over there. As you're filing in live here, make sure that you do comment out there in the live chat because, as always, you will have a opportunity to participate a little later on, and we'll let you know about that. And then also, if you're listening in replay, you can always jump down in a comment section below, be a part of wherever you're at in the replay. And if you are specifically over in that audio podcast world, uh, usually they have a thumbs up, a star rating, some type of thing, and leave one of those as well if you feel so inclined. I don't know if I forgot anything, but I wasted 2 minutes one way or the other. So what's up, bro?
What's going on? How are you?
I'm here, dude. I'm here.
I understand. Yeah, we're if you've never been to this fiasco before, yeah, Clover and I both bring topics that neither one of us know about. We talk a little bit about our individual topics, and then the third topic is the random viewer topic. So as Clover was saying, make sure you guys stick around because we'll give you guys a way to have an opportunity to give us the third and final topic of the night. That's presented by our good friends over at Monstrum Tactical, but we'll talk about that here in a little bit. How's your week, or I guess 2 weeks been going since we had the last podcast? Last couple weeks been going good?
Well, you've been super busy, so we haven't even talked a whole lot.
Yeah, it's kind of that time of year,
with you being busy. Yeah. It's been it has been dry the last 3 days, which is great because with all the storms and everything else, you've got trees down and you've got limbs down and you've got yards that need to be mowed and you got things going on, right? So finally it was interesting. First day you don't realize, grass things get high and you don't realize how wet it is underneath when that stuff gets high. Because it's not able to dry out. Of course, you're on a golf course, you get that, I'm sure. But yeah, it's kind of crazy how tall grass can keep the ground so wet, But then again, I don't know how much rain we've gotten over the last month or two, but it's a crazy amount. I can't tell you that much. So makes sense the ground would be wet.
Yeah, let's go real quick and say hey to the folks out there joining us. We got Chris from the 740. We got Defensive Firearm Tactics. Rich B's out there. Kyle, what's up, Kyle? Gizzard Gary, I know there's more out there, but go ahead and say something out there in the chat if you don't. Remember, if you guys are here live, you get to help us out with the third segment. If you are watching this at replay or listening in podcast form, we do invite you to join us on the live recording of this every other Sunday night. That way you can not only be part of the awesome conversations going on live, but also be maybe included in that third segment as well.
Yeah. So have you got a chance to get out and play with anything?
Yeah, I put a video out over the weekend with the Cox Arms EMR. So that was fun to get out there and shoot that. It's a great rifle. Really is. It's a fantastic rifle.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and if you don't believe it, just ask Mike, right? He'll tell you.
This is true. He'll tell you. Which I guess he should, it's his baby. He would tell you.
Right. I always say if you can't pat yourself on the back, don't expect anybody else to. So
That's right.
you know,
If you can't appreciate your own work, then nobody else will.
right? Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Um, what episode are we on? So
This
this
is
is
episode 8 of the second
this is
season. Season 2,
eight,
episode 8. 8 is enough,
eight.
maybe.
So is this I start on this one?
No, I think that's my first topic, I believe. You
Eight.
opened up. It's my topic, I think.
One, two. Let's see. Yeah, maybe you should have opened up. Was what the
No,
no?
I opened up on odds.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
open
You
up on
comment.
evens.
You open up on odds, and you got the first topic on evens.
That's
And
right.
then yeah,
That's
you're
right.
right. Yeah, you're right. Okay. Yeah. I get so confused with that. Golly, the whole odds and evens thing. It's crazy. I was thinking, oh,
And
we screwed up, but no, we're good.
you're talking to a Marine about messing up with numbers? Really?
Oh my God.
Really?
Either way, I
Am
started.
I the number guy in
Uh,
this room?
uh,
Wow.
here's the
Wow.
thing. Either way, I started, so you got the first topic,
That's right.
regardless.
That's right.
So it's all
Well,
good.
I
What you
noticed
got?
that you put out a short over the weekend. I'm not sure if it was Friday or yesterday. You put out a short out about what you love about one of your ARs, and I
Yeah.
put a video out over the weekend about the Cox Arms, one of their ARs. We talk about ARs. We talk about a lot of stuff on both our individual podcasts and our channels and all that.
Mhm.
But I don't remember. I know you and I have many times, but I don't know if we've ever had a discussion on what we like about ARs, what we dislike about
Oh,
ARs, or what we're looking for in ARs. So I want to bring that up. And I also want to invite everybody out there in the live chat or listening to replay or podcast to let us know what you guys like or dislike or what you're looking for in ARs as well. But I thought it'd be kind of fun because you and I probably are going to look at ARs a little bit differently and what we like about them and what we're looking for out of them. So I thought that'd be an interesting discussion.
yeah. Let's go. I'm okay with it.
Yeah. So when you're looking at an AR, whether you're looking to buy one or you've got one to work with, and you're going to do some testing and all of that, what are you specifically looking from that AR that would allow you to feel good about that rifle? Is it weight? Is it triggers? What exactly do you look for, or that let's be good or bad about an AR when you're
I'm gonna
reviewing
go.
one?
I'm gonna go off the reservation with something that's weird.
Yeah, sure.
Um, the the handguard has to look good, like the front
Oh,
end
I'm a
of it,
big handguard guy for
like
sure.
the aesthetics or whatever of it.
So,
Uh,
what's your favorite kind of handguard?
oh, that's a good question. Um,
Do you like the old clamshell? Are you more of an M-lock guy, or
man, I'm super partial to
you're a key
trying.
mod guy, aren't you? Don't lie.
No, no, I literally don't. I haven't actually had even M-Lock for very long. Um, man, as far as just I guess the look I like best is
Yeah.
triangles, man. I know there's something
Okay.
about the way that everything tapers to the front, um, off of the receiver. I
You
like
talking
that
like an
triangle.
old, like an A1 kind of a handguard type
Yeah,
thing?
yeah, there's the old school
Yeah.
triangle,
Yeah.
handguard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
They Yeah, there's just something about that. It's because of the taper that's on those, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Rifle barrels typically taper. Now, with ARs, not so much, but you know, um, but yeah, it's just I don't know. It's just a more of a classic look to me, and I kind of like that. I mean, it is handy. Don't get me wrong to have M-Lock or have pick rail or have something like that. Um, in certain scenarios in certain situations or whatever. But then
Yeah.
again, that's the beauty of that platform too, which I'm sure we'll get into.
Yeah. The modularity that's what I think that's what makes the AR-15 or the AR platform in general. What it is the modularity. You can really kind of customize how you want. You're talking handguards. Are you, now that you're starting to kind of get into some of the M-Lock and all that, the biggest trend the last several years has been like the floating handguard? Are you a fan of the floating handguard?
Yeah, I've been into floating guards for quite some time, even with quads.
Yep.
So, quad,
Hashtag
w-
Team Quad Rail, by the way.
right. I tell you, I mean, I do the quads. Now I've got to have. Let me caveat the quad by saying I've got to have ladder covers. I don't like the big bulky covers on quads.
Okay.
We can go down so many roads. If we ain't careful, we'll spend the entire podcast talking
Oh,
about
we
ARs.
absolutely we could. Yeah.
Um, but I don't know where you sit on that. But for me, I want I want a contrasting typically I want a contrasting color ladder cover with
Sure.
when you're talking about covering the rails. I don't like the
Hmm.
big bulky weird cover. I just don't like those at all.
Yeah. No, I get it. I'm a big quad rail guy. And I don't need covers. You know, I actually kind of like the feeling of the quad rail. You know that you're going to get a good grip. Chances are you're not going to lose that grip. Now your hands might get chewed up a little bit here and there, but
True.
probably used to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Like the first thing that you went to when you were talking about what you look for in AR is the hand guard. But I'm going to take that a step further and say I think that you're saying it has to look good
Hmm.
by meaning aesthetics, and I'm the same way. A lot of people say an AR is an AR is an AR, and that's not necessarily true. I
Yeah.
do believe that not all ARs are created equally, especially not in the aesthetic side of things. I think that some are better looking than others, if you will. And so
Well,
I'm a big believer in the way they look as well.
you've got from one brand to the next. Let's be honest. The upper, the lower is basically the same.
Yeah,
Internals are the same. Barrel gas system, typically, unless you're, by some reason, maybe you're going piston driven. I don't know, but direct impingement anyway,
yeah,
which is by far the most common.
absolutely.
So other than handguard, flash hider, stock, like that's really what sets
Yep.
it off and sort of makes it look unique in a way.
Hmm.
Nothing
Hmm.
else really is. Now, if you get into doing some retro inspired builds and you're going with a, cheers right forward eject, or, maybe you're going with, oversized mag releases or bolt
Sure.
catches or other things, bad levers, charging handles, um, like the one from Breek, for example.
Oh man, the
The door one.
Warhammer. Yeah, I'm a weird guy when it comes to charging handles. I actually do take that in consideration. Now, not necessarily if I'm going to buy an AR or not, because I can always
Yeah.
upgrade that charging handle. But the
Yeah.
charging handle is in a very important part for me
Right.
of parts. You know.
Well, over the last, what's it been, a year or so, a little over a year maybe. I've got the Bursa AR, which has got the M-lock rail, and
Hmm.
then the AM9, the
Hmm.
PCC. But so both of those being M-lock, and the only two M-lock rails that I have on ARs. And I will say that there's something about, I kind of like not having the rails on the side or the bottom, but then having the M-lock so that you do have options for hand stops or whatever. And
Hmm.
then at the same time, by not having those, um, and I think it goes in a line a little bit with the way that the triangle guards taper down, and they just have that sleek look to them.
Yeah.
A lot of modern, if I could talk, modern M-lock hand guards. There's a lot of them out there that are slim, right?
Yeah.
They're
There
not
are.
big,
Hmm.
bulky monstrosities. And there's just something about that after you've played around with those, it's like, man, I really like, especially when that offhand being forward and grabbing a hold of it. It just, I don't know, it just feels right. I don't know how else to explain it.
Yeah, no, I hear you. And that's the beautiful thing about it is you can get the slim, sleek hand guards. You can get bigger, meatier, if you will, whatever. There's companies out there for no matter what you prefer, they're out there.
Yeah.
And that's a great thing about them. When it comes to ARs, we talk so much with handguns on triggers and how important the trigger is and how good stock triggers are. How important is a trigger to your AR?
So important in terms of I want a decent trigger.
Decent
Um,
trigger or trigger weight,
well,
what,
I
how
was just,
important is that? Yeah.
yeah, I was giving context.
Yeah.
Important in terms of I want a decent trigger. Eh, you know, 10. And to say that important as in I've got to go get an aftermarket, 0.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to polish up, do some spring work, and do some other things, and
Hmm.
pretty much it doesn't matter what AR it is.
Right.
If I pick it up and it's like, ew, okay, I can work on this, right? I know what my trigger jobs feel like, and so if I pick
Right.
it up, whatever, I picked it up used, I build it, company sends it, whatever, and I pull the trigger, and I know that I can make it better. I'm going to make it better.
Yep.
But I own 0. Well, that's not true. I own 2 that have yet to make an appearance on the channel, and you know what they are. But
I do.
um, but as far
I'm not
as
so sure they're going to make an appearance on my
yeah,
channel.
exactly right. Um, but outside of that, I there's no whatever they came with or whatever mil spec, DPMS spikes, whatever kit got put in them when they were built. That's
Right.
basically what they were with a little bit of love. Yeah.
Yeah, I do like Hyperfire. I mean, there's a couple companies. Geisley's got great for the bang for the buck. I think that Hyperfire, as far as the
I would go
aftermarkets, might be
Hyperfire. I
my
would agree.
favorite. I'm not
Yeah,
saying
I
it's the
would.
best, but they're my favorite.
Yeah, if I was going
That
to drop
said,
one in, it would be Hyperfire.
yeah, that
Hands down.
said, I think that as long as you can get me to 3.5 to 5 pound pull on an AR, which is where most of them are going to
Yeah,
start out with, they're going to get better when they get worked in and all that, or polish jobs or whatever. As long as it doesn't feel bad, I don't care as much with an AR trigger as I do with handgun triggers.
yeah.
Um, so that's just kind of where I
Man,
fall.
people get so worked up over that, and like something like and maybe it's just because I shoot so much rimfire,
Yeah,
but an excellent measure it in ounces trigger in rimfire because
yeah,
it's freaking rimfire. Um, you're able to first of all, it's not a dangerous. It doesn't get into a dangerous situation
mm,
with recoil and potentially bumping, right?
right,
To me, light triggers and yeah, I get it. 5.56 is an intermediate cartridge, but when we're talking about recoil, it's vastly more than a 22 long rifle.
yeah,
Um, so you get out of that danger zone with a little heavier trigger, and in all honesty, if the rifle is recoiling hardly any at all, if you've got any
yep,
type of muzzle rise at all, is does it really make that much of a difference?
no,
Assuming, of course, that you've got a nice smooth pull. Assuming, of course, that it's not real gritty and
yep,
just horrible. And again, that's why anything that I do, I'm going to clean it up regardless because
yep,
I can't handle weight. I'm okay with. You can
right,
stage a weighted trigger. You can do other things.
yeah, sure,
Gritty, where it's just like it's running across sandpaper, like forget that.
yep, yeah. I think that for me, unless you're just running a 2 gun or 3 gun, or you're running a PCC in competition or whatever, having a really light trigger in AR doesn't really do anything. So I don't mind. Like I said, a 3.5 pound is probably for me like a perfect um, trigger weight, pull weight on an AR. I don't mind it now. I don't shoot ARs in competition, so that's not something that I have to worry about. But
True.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's interesting. I think it's funny that someone out there is bringing Tinley up. Yeah, Tinley's good. And there's a lot of great there's a lot of great triggers out there. But I think for an AR, unless I'm looking for something specific or I'm using that rifle for a specific reason, like I
Yeah.
said, as long as the stock trigger, whatever it may be, isn't just trash, then I'm probably not going to go and put an aftermarket out. I'm not going to go and try to change it.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
I'm not that guy typically.
Yeah.
I know that you've got a couple ARs and I do too, but you brought up old school.
Yeah.
Um, So I want to just kind of real quick, just do this. Um, Carry handle or no carry handle? If you just
Oh,
are you
I
pro
like
carry handle or anti carry
it's an
handle?
it's an aesthetic thing, and I like a carry handle.
I do too. I
I
do
like a
too.
carry handle, no optics. I mean,
Yeah, I
even
do
the
too.
little 4 power, like my Dissy
Yeah.
clone or Dissy inspired, you could call it,
Yeah.
is a 6.5 um, or 6.8. I mean 6.8 SPC, and it does have a 4X, an old school 4X scope
Yeah.
on the carry handle, but um, yeah, typically, that's why I'd put that short out with that XM177 copy. I
Yeah.
like I just gravitate more toward the lightweight, no frills, everything's there, and
Mhm.
having a carry handle, everything's there. Like
My original experience with a rifle or guns in general was the M16A2 in boot camp. Obviously, my story's well documented out there as to why I appreciate and love guns is because of that.
mhm.
And it was the fixed carry handle, and that's how we learn to shoot. And am I saying that I don't love optics? Of course I love optics. I love dots.
Yeah.
But there's something about maybe nostalgia, if you will, that
Mhm.
a great little carry handle just looks to me, it looks great on a rifle.
It's just yeah, it just sets the profile off. It's more
With an A2 post, obviously, you kind of have to go
yeah,
with
oh
it. You
yeah,
have
it
to
has
kind
to
of
be,
you have to have an A2 post, which
has to
doesn't
be.
bother me one bit.
No, has to be. And yeah, it's just that iconic. It keeps that iconic profile, right?
Yeah.
Imagine if you will, right? Not
Okay.
that it's the Twilight Zone or anything, but imagine a Beretta 80, a Beretta 82, a Beretta 92.
Okay.
The profile, the silhouette of a Beretta 92 is unmistakable.
Absolutely.
Now, it could be confused with a Gerson. Shout out to EAA, or it could be talking about the silhouette, or it could be confused with a Taurus potentially.
Sure. Yeah.
But you've got the relieved slide in the top where you got the
Uh-huh.
exposed barrel, right? The barrel sticks out the front of the slide a little bit.
Just a little
Um,
bit.
there's certain things with that if you take a silhouette of that, and we see it on a lot of anti-gunner signs for whatever reason, Beretta
Yeah.
92s, but so the silhouette's iconic anyway, but um, you take that if you was to tweak a few little things on the Beretta 92, it would no longer have that iconic silhouette, right?
True. Yep.
And so there's just something about that in the AR's the same way for me. Um, but again, I mean, none of my ARs are remotely the same. Like none.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
all they've got a different purpose, or they shoot a different cartridge, or maybe they're for a different purpose with that cartridge, or like every single one of them.
Yeah.
And a lot of mine are inspired builds, right? Like
Sure. Yeah.
Dizzy inspired,
Yep.
XM177, expired, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Um, and that sort of thing. So, um, but that's the beauty of the platform too. Like
It
you can
is.
do that and do it easily is the thing.
Yeah. That is the great thing about the air
You know,
platform and all that.
furniture changes and aesthetic changes for the most part. Um, what a
Hurt
hundred
as
dollar, hundred
easy as
dollar,
it comes.
hundred dollars worth of tools, maybe. I mean, if you don't already have them
Hmm. Yeah. And finding those aftermarket parts. I
everywhere,
mean, they're selling them on Amazon to some extent
everywhere.
now.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. You brought up the 92 clones and all that, and brought up EAA. Let's talk a little about European American Army. Obviously, you
yeah.
guys know that we are big fans of theirs. Both have many, many, many guns of theirs, and love what they're doing. Obviously, big weekend for EAA a few weeks ago in Dallas at NRAM. Obviously, the P35 lightweight was named the Golden Bullseye Handgun of the Year. They actually received the award in RAM, but they also had an announcement of the new 2311 match, which
Yeah.
I think is going to be amazing.
It's so
But
baller. It's so baller, man.
it is, it's so good. It really is,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of stuff coming down the line from EAA that we can't mention yet, but if you're going to be in Knoxville in August, then there's a good chance you might see something pretty amazing at EAA. But
Yeah,
um, yeah,
yeah,
I know that.
yeah.
I know that you. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say I was out this morning filming. If you are a channel member, you've got access to that. Was not filming with anything or filming for an EAA product, but there was a few that made appearances in that video.
Yeah.
Um, and so I did. Yeah, I got some trigger time in on the 2311 because I haven't shot it a whole lot since it come back from repair. Um, and by the way, seamless process. It was great. Really stupid problem with that thing.
It was kind
Uh,
of weird, wasn't it? No one
right.
even
That was,
thought about that,
oh my God, it was such a
or at least we didn't think
uh,
about that. You
and
know.
that's why that's why. Well, yeah, the gunsmith at that range up in Fort Worth or whatever uh, probably would have found it and fixed it, but it was good it went back, so they were aware that something wonky like that could happen. And I think that ended up helping a lot of other folks that had them too.
Oh, I'm
But
sure. Yeah.
yeah, that and then the PI lightweight, uh, Vigorson high power PI lightweight. So I got some trigger time in on both of those again uh, today, this morning. As a matter of fact, phenomenal. And I wager I got a buddy supposed to be coming over tomorrow. It's been a while since he's gotten any range time, and he picked up a couple of new guns and wanted to come out. And I'm pretty sure because he's a big 1911 guy.
Uh
I'm
oh.
pretty sure all of oh good lord, I'm trying to even think. The 10 millimeter carry, the 10 millimeter
Oh
hunter,
yeah.
the 2311. The pretty sure all of those will come back out again tomorrow. Fingers crossed that it doesn't storm or rain. But
Right.
so yeah, still pulling triggers, having fun on all that stuff. I will say this too, real quick. Talk to Chase because we're always talking about the handguns with the
Hmm.
EAA. It seems like we're always talking about that. But I actually heard from Chase, and EAA also brings in the ACAR shotguns.
Oh yeah.
And
Sure.
so he told me that there was a whole pallet. This was a week or maybe two ago. That there was a whole pallet of sub 12s, which is 20s, 28s, 410s, um, that had come in. So
Nice.
if you want a good deal on an over and under side by side, that sort of thing, those ACARs are solid, and there may be some distributors that have those right now. So if you've been
Uh-huh.
looking and they've been saying out of stock, you may want to check again. Just saying.
Absolutely. Scott out there says, "How do you get to be a tester for EAA?" It's interesting. I mean, get to shows, um,
Start a channel, get you to
start a channel,
shows,
yeah,
and
and go and get to meet Chase and Paul and Keith and all those guys, and honestly, just
focus
build
more on a
relationships.
relationship. Yep. Focus more on the relationships and networks than sub counts.
Yep.
Um,
I can tell you that they
it's
aren't huge on sub counts. As long as you're going to do the work and they like you, you're going to be all right.
no, it is super laughable. And I'm sure you've had this happen too, where you'd be in other chats, or maybe you get cross with another creator, and it may not even be somebody in your niche, and they badmouth you because you're however many subs you are that's not 500,000 or a million or whatever.
Hmm.
And it's laughable because at the end of the day, if you work your relationships and your contacts and other stuff, your sub counts don't matter. Like it's just a number.
Yeah,
But you got to get to work. You got to do the work. That's the biggest thing. So that's starting a channel, putting out, cranking out the videos, getting to the shows, and all that's work. And so
absolutely.
that's where it starts. Real quick, I guess. I'm
Yeah,
probably on deck, but
you
uh,
are.
with the third topic, final topic of the night. For everybody out there listening, don't go anywhere, and make sure you have typed something out there in the chat. Let us know that you're out there, because once this segment is done, we will spin the wheel. We will pick somebody. Um, get your topic kind of that you want us to do. Should we choose you? Have that
Ready
in
to
mind,
go.
please. Have it locked, loaded, and ready to go with that hair trigger. That way we try not to waste too much time on it. But yeah, don't go anywhere. We'll do that after we get done with this segment. So,
With your topic, which is going to be what?
dude, we might have an all gun
Uh oh. Uh
podcast.
oh.
We might have an all gun podcast.
Okay.
I'm not gonna say
I'm not.
why.
I'm not against that.
I'm not gonna say why. Channel members out there can probably figure this out. But I'm not gonna say why. But I want to talk about gun storage.
Oh, I bet
Talk
you do.
about
Yeah.
some ideas about what we do, what we use. Maybe there's some unconventional methods
Sure.
um, that we use. Whatever. Um, I guess I'm curious. Just a quick question for you to get rolling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so handguns. Do
Yeah.
you keep your original boxes? Does it matter if it's cardboard or an ice box? Like what dictates what you do with that?
If it's I do, and it drives my wife nuts. Now, if it's just like a box, like, no offense, I'm not demeaning them or anything, but like tourists, when they send you something or whatever, it comes in like in a box, right?
The cardboard, yeah, right.
The cardboard box.
Yeah,
I don't necessarily keep those. Not all of
right,
them. I do some of them. Not all of
right.
them though. But anyone that comes in like in a gun case, yeah, I keep all of them. I have them all labeled as to what they are, because I've got so many of them. I wouldn't be able to go to one and say, well, I think this is, even though it might be a certain brand, I don't know if I would know exactly what gun. So I've got them all labeled.
Yeah,
So yeah, as far as gun cases, I do keep them all, and I think
yeah.
that drives my wife crazy.
I even got a few of the cardboard ones that are
I do
stacked up.
too. I have a few,
Like,
not all of them, but I do have a few.
um, definitely do. One of the reasons I asked this is because I've got the PD10.
Yeah.
And the Video Arms PD10, in case nobody knows. Um, and so ended up getting it's in a cardboard box. Now it's in a cardboard box with a foam cutout, nice foam
Yeah.
cutout, and
Sure.
all that
Sure.
inside.
Yeah.
It's a nice cardboard box, but it's a cardboard box. I don't think
Yeah.
Rob would mind me knocking it for that. It is what it is. But an interim came home with the barrel slide magazine for 30 super carry,
Hmm.
basically a conversion kit, if you will. Um, and so I'm like, well, crap, there's ain't no spot in that box to put this. I need to put it in a totally different case, right? And
Hmm.
I didn't want to. I didn't really want to, but what choice do you have? Um, but I agree with you that if I'm using a factory case that is plastic, whether it's plastic or cardboard, as long as
Hmm.
I can read the label on the end, it does have a label on the end and I can read it.
Yep.
I'm cool because it's turned on the shelf that direction. But if I'm using an aftermarket case, whatever that might be from MTM or Plano or
Yeah.
Cedar Mill Fine Firearms, I've got several of those. Got some Taurus was given away, I think, at the gathering one year,
Yeah.
which worked out for a few Taurus handguns I had. But anyway, those
Right.
don't have labels, and so label printers are pretty awesome to print you out a label and slap on the side of it so you know
Absolutely.
what's what. Um, or maybe you pick up a case that, for whatever reason, the label's not on there. Um, so yeah, I was curious about that with handguns. Now, when we get into rifles,
Hmm.
um, almost all come in cardboard.
Right.
um, I've got trying to think if I have any. I don't. Yeah, I take that back. I've got a couple. That Beretta ARX 120
Hmm.
is in a case. And then I've got a select few, and then I've got some shotguns that are in actual cases. But as far as
Yep.
long guns go, typically they come in janky cardboard, right? It's
Yeah.
not even like,
Absolutely.
I mean, sometimes they don't even have the brand's name on them, and
This is
so
true.
I don't keep that stuff typically. And then I don't even have cases. I've got soft cases and socks and things if I need to like travel, if I need to stack a bunch of stuff backseat of the
Yeah.
truck or whatever.
Yeah.
But all of that pretty much stays in racks, in cabinets, and safes, and
Yep.
whatever,
Same here.
rather than in actual cases. So
Yep.
I guess if you didn't have many, maybe you would put them in cases and put them under the bed, or whatever. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't keep the. I don't. I mean, I have some of the boxes, only because they are kind of abnormally length boxes, and sometimes they could be used for sitting something. I mean, not the rifle. Don't ever use them for the rifle, but they're. I don't know. A set of golf clubs or a baseball bat, or you never know. You always use them for something. I do keep. I got. Let's see here. One, two, three, four that I've just kept, and they're just kind of sitting over there. But most of the time, yeah, I've got a bunch of Drago gear, soft bags, or Pelican hard cases.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of Savior soft cases,
Savior's good stuff. Yeah.
and I'll keep them in those. Or let's just be honest, the vast majority of them are safe cabinet. Um,
So
that's just that's how they're stored.
yeah, yeah. So um, what about the shorties? What about the
Yeah,
large format pistols? I don't know how you would word it to get
yeah,
the point across there, but the I'm trying to think. I've got the original case for my Tech 9. That don't count. The X Stars,
yeah,
the Strybogs, the
sure,
that
yeah,
that sort of thing, right? Um, ooh, now to think about it, the Strybog come with a case, but I don't
yeah,
think with a brace on it'll fit back in the case.
yeah,
I haven't
yeah,
even tried that thing. I shoot that thing so much it hasn't it hasn't
right,
it hasn't been put up. Um, but what do you do with with that sort of stuff, the shorty stuff? Obviously, it won't fit in at least my racks. Those fit in none of my racks unless I put a dowel or something down the barrel.
yeah,
Um, like, and they don't fit in a regular rifle length case. You kind of got to get a specialty case for them a lot of times.
yeah. There are some companies, Savior's one of them, that do make smaller bags, cases, soft cases
Right.
for pistol length stuff. I am going to tell you what I do with them, and I do not. I want to preface this by saying I do not encourage people to do this. I don't probably think it's this very smart thing to do, but it's what I do. I have a very large metal peg wall, if you will,
Oh
in
yeah.
my office, and all of my short barreled stuff, um, they're all
Displayed or
on peg
whatever.
wall. They're displayed because really it's hard to put them in safe cabinets and all of that.
True.
Um,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
they're just on my peg wall. I got a big peg wall, and
Hmm.
a couple of them aren't, but the vast majority are displayed. Not displayed. When I say displayed, not for people to see, because I don't let people in my
Right.
office.
Yeah.
That said, that they're there.
Yeah. Um, well, I will say this, and you can a lot of times you can look around at gun shows or something like that, and even maybe find some older used cases or something like that. But takedown, any type of a takedown shotgun, so over
Sure.
under
Yeah.
shotgun cases, if you can find some used ones or something like that, typically they're shorter,
Yep.
and might even be able to get two, large format pistols if you turn them right in
Yeah.
one of those cases. It's entirely possible. So
Yeah.
um, that's an option. Or if you're out there, even if you're looking for them new, look for some takedown shotgun or some over under shotgun cases. If you can't find a size in a normal case
Right.
that
Yeah.
that's short enough, if you're like, man, that's just way too much wasted space. Um, it's definitely an option, and I've got that on a couple of SBRs,
Yeah.
uh,
Sure.
not pistols or anything, but from good Lord, 20
Shorter
years
shorter
ago or
barrels. Yeah.
more. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That I
Absolutely.
had to figure that out, and ended up having to get some shotgun cases to put them in,
Mm,
unfortunately, but it worked. So,
absolutely.
um, yeah, I don't know what else to necessarily cover or talk about. Um, on the storage
Where
front.
do you fall? Because I know that at least for your podcast and different things that you do have some display racks
Mhm.
in the background. Now, I think they're cabled, lock and all of that.
Well, I was
But what do you feel about displaying? People that like to display their own walls or
yeah.
um, where do you fall on that?
I feel like, and this is why we went more down a storage route. I feel like we covered this maybe last year on an episode or
You
something,
might
and that
have.
maybe we didn't, but I kind of feel like we did, right? Um, so as far as having a display or something, I'm totally fine with it.
Yeah.
Here's why I'm totally fine with it. I grew up. There's literally I need to find that picture or scan it or something and maybe post it on the X or something. But I'm in diapers, sitting on what I think is a chest freezer with a gun rack directly behind me with guns all hanging off of
Right.
it, right?
Yeah.
So I grew up literally with guns in racks and cabinets all around the place.
We
Like
also we
they
also
weren't
both grew up
hidden
in.
out of
Go ahead.
sight in a safe, hidden. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? They were out in the open, so it doesn't bother me. Now
Yeah,
with
we also
my
both grew up in areas where pickups at schools, at our
oh
high
yeah,
schools,
oh
had rifles and shotguns in the
oh,
back window, and were
guilty,
never stolen, by the way.
guilty, right?
Yeah,
So
I was not, but I mean, yeah, a bunch of my buddies did.
So I um the displays I have is primarily for the backdrop of the podcast. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Um, but I did take precautions,
Hmm.
and everybody out there, the channel members and everybody else that kind of behind the scenes through the process of getting that little backdrop set up, whatever built. Um, I did take precautions. You're right, like with a cabling system that's anchored to
Hmm.
the wall, and that way, they can be locked up.
Absolutely.
You know, anybody that wants to steal something, given enough time and resources, could definitely steal something, right?
Yep.
Um, but I can
Well, they could
secure
they could
them.
carry a full safe out if they wanted to.
Yeah, exactly. And I've heard of that happening before. Literally, people break out a wall, yank a
Hmm.
safe out in the back of a pickup truck. They backed up to the wall that they
Yep.
basically beat out with a sledgehammer, and yeah, and off they go. And then they can cut it
They
open or
can worry
whatever
about
at
how they
their
get it
leisure.
open later.
Yeah,
Yeah, they don't care.
yeah. So we're talking about making it as deterrence first, where it never happens in the
Yeah.
first place, and then deterrence or making it inconvenient for them, time consuming and inconvenient. And so, and I have make no bones about it. Like I don't put none of my NFA items are going to be there,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
None of
Absolutely.
my heirloom super high dollar stuff. I mean, they may be. I may put them in the background for a video, but I mean, they're going to come down and get replaced with something else once that
Exactly.
video's done. So, usually the stuff that's up there at any given time, it's just run of the mill commercial stuff that you could go to
Yeah.
any gun show, go to any dealer, and probably pick up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um,
Let's see.
I'll tell you what, I know you're getting the
Hang it
software
up.
ready to go. It has come
Yeah.
to that point. We're going to give a few minutes to be eligible to give us that random topic and be chosen for that. All you got to do is push the number 8. That's all you got to do. Just like you see on the screen, just push the number 8 in the chat, and that will register you to be eligible. Hopefully, here in a couple minutes. We'll give it a minute or two for you guys to go ahead and put that out there. But we do, like Clover said earlier, we do ask you that if you are randomly uh, picked to give us a topic, will take any topic. It doesn't have to be gun related. It could be anything, as long as it doesn't get us kicked off platforms. And we all kind of know what those topics are, so we know that. But anything and everything. And if we don't know about what it is, hell, we can BS through it very, very quickly. But yeah, all you gotta do is push the number 8 out there. And like Clover said, if you are chosen, please go ahead and start thinking now what that topic will be. So if your name is drawn, you
Mhm.
can give us the topic quickly in the comment section.
And
And
Mark
this
said
is
that.
this is brought to you by our good friends at Monstrum Tactical. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, Mark out there is saying that he got chosen last time. Doesn't matter. Put an 8 out there, bro.
Yeah, put it. Yeah. Hey, It's
This
not one of
round,
those things. Now you do have to be present to win, obviously,
yeah,
because if we draw your name and within half a minute or a minute you're not saying anything, we will redraw until someone is available that's here.
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
And that
go for
happens.
it.
It seems like every show somebody's
Yeah, it
bailed
does.
after putting an 8. But yeah, and yeah, for this, yeah, we can thank Monstrum Tactical, man. Um,
Monstrum Tactical.
I haven't heard from Chris and Monstrum in a few weeks since
I
before
haven't either. I had
in
this is
round.
before NRAM. Yeah, same thing. Same with me. Yeah, sure
I'm
was.
I'm willing to bet they're busy, because most everybody
Yeah.
I seem to talk to lately is busy. I got this week. I've got a couple of companies I need to try to nail down before GunCon happens. And Monstrum's one of them.
Yeah.
But um, hopefully I'm able to. But yeah, I speaking of Monstrum, um, oh heck, channel members will see this too. Got another video that's they have access to right now that will drop, and the Monstrum Panzer
There you go.
1 to
Yep.
1024 LPBO
Yep.
sitting on one of the things in that video. Um, yeah, man, I don't have a whole lot of LPBOs. Of course, you know this. I had
Hmm.
LPBOs a few before that was even a thing. They didn't even call them that. They just call them a whatever, a low power scope or something. But um, just the design, the way they are with the 24 millimeter tube and that sort of stuff. Um, but everything I've had up until the Monstrum, man, the Monstrum's just a different world. It's just so much better, and the fact that it's budget optics
Mm.
is what's insane. Like it's you know, um, the only thing bad, and it's nothing that I haven't told Chris and we talked to Monstrum about, is the weight.
Yeah.
But then I think about that and I'm like, you know what? If you can handle the weight, and it's not like they weigh 15 pounds. Let's
No.
be honest. But compared to things 10 times the price, they're heavy, right? Um, but yeah, I mean, if you can handle the weight, I think the weight lends itself a little bit to the ruggedness of it, quite honestly,
Oh yeah, sure. It's going
because
to help
they're
protect it. Yeah.
they're solid, and especially for the money.
Hmm. Yeah. You know, are they using the carbon fibers, the titaniums, the lightweight um, materials? No, they're not. But they're also saying, look, we're going to try to give you a great product for a great price, and the money that they are spending on it, instead of trying to get the carbon fiber, the titanium,
Mhm.
and the materials that are going to cost so less. Well, you know what? We're going to put our money into the glass. We're going to put our money into the dials, the things that really truly matter.
Creating their own
Um,
reticles, which I think
this is 100%, which they
is
have
very
some
unique.
awesome reticles. You
Yeah,
know.
very unique reticle. Scott, real quick, says this Monstrum doing an RMR. They are moving in that direction, is what I
Yeah.
would say. Yes,
Yeah.
they have. I've got one called the Raven. Um, now I don't know. I haven't been able to find that on their site or on Amazon or anywhere.
Yeah.
It was like when they first sent it to me, it was on Amazon for like a brief second. It seemed like. And I haven't been able to see it since, or it's been a while. It's been probably a week or two since I've actually paid any attention. But I know it wasn't. So maybe they sold out really quick. That's possible too, because again, we're talking
Yeah.
about Monstrum has got a pretty good following, and they're budget minded, so that could be the case. But yeah,
Absolutely.
I think it's called the Raven. Um, but yeah, Monstrum is primarily been into the glass side of things.
Hmm.
uh, and more of like the rifle rather than the
Yeah.
handgun type side. But it does seem like I don't know about you, but
Yeah.
my understanding and perspective is it seems like they're moving into to trying to get at least a piece of that handgun market, which I
Yeah.
think
And
they
when we
should.
talked,
I think they should.
yeah, we talked with Chris. Well, I know we did. I talked to Chris for a bit at Shot also, just on my own, and kind of asked him that. I said, with the way of the world, where everyone with the handgun world, you almost have to have an optic cut ready to go. And he was like, yeah, that's just the way it is. And he even made a mention. He's like, if you're in the optic business, in the optic realm, and you're not offering that or trying to offer handgun optics, then you're going to lose a lot, because that's
Yep.
the way that the world is going, and it's a new
Well,
market. Not necessarily it's a new market, but the last few years it has become a huge market where it was not that big for years and years and years. Now, how many handguns do you see? I'll put it to you this way: if you see a new handgun that's not got an optic cut, um, that's a rare thing these days.
it really is. Chris from the 740 out there, who's done a lot of work with Monstrum too, says the Raven has okay, it's got the Noblex footprint then. So it
Yeah.
has the Vortex footprint, which is the Dr. Noblex
Hmm.
footprint. Like the old
That
fast
makes
fires and
sense. That's
stuff.
probably a
So
good idea
yeah.
to pull it and redesign it.
So they said they pull it. So they're probably. I got to figure if they're going to redesign that, they're going to redesign that RMR with the size of it. It'd be pretty
Yep.
easy for them to do that. So I would say just hang tight, Scott. And
I bet you the
uh,
next couple of months you'll see something.
yeah, yeah. I don't know why not. RMRs especially seem to be pretty easy to do. You see more
Absolutely.
RMR dots, I think, than anything. RMSCs are coming along now, especially with compact
RMSCs
stuff.
are coming along, but I think still RMR is going to be the one that
Hmm.
um,
Yeah.
that
Yep.
will last. Real quick before we continue this, we'll talk a little bit more about maybe 30 more seconds. We'll talk Monstrum to give you a few more seconds. But if you haven't, and you're out there in the chat, and there's almost 20 of you guys out there in the chat, and what, 6 have entered. Make sure that you're live. Hit that button down there that says live. So you're caught up. More importantly, just type the number 8. Just type the number 8 there in the chat, and that enters you to be chosen real quick in the next minute or so to pick our next topic for us.
Third
So here we
topic.
go.
Yeah. Um, a lot of people may be at work listening or something and
Yep.
can't
Which is
actually
fine. Which is fine.
or driving. That happens too.
Or they just really don't care about the topic. They just want to listen. So there you go.
But yeah, with the thing with the Monstrum and them being able to crank out basically whatever they feel the need to crank out is they've revamped their factory and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, and so they're set up in a good position that I'm sure they could pull that Raven, and they may have put the Raven out in that Dr. Noblex just to kind of test the waters a little bit.
Sure. Yeah.
And I haven't had a problem with the one I've got, but now that I'm thinking about it, I'm
I
glad
don't
they.
have any of their handgun optics, but I'm a huge fan. And this is I do like prism optics. I know a lot of people necessarily don't, but I do like prisms. They've got some great prisms. Yeah, their LPVOs are magnificent. But we haven't talked about what really they've got magnificent that has nothing to do with glass. They have a lot of mounts and rings that could be used with any brand optics and all of that for rifles and all that. And their rings and mounts, I've got them holding. Matter of fact, I want to say that my Bergara that I've got the loophole scope on, I
Hmm.
believe that's got a monstrum rings on there,
Yeah.
and they're great. They're fantastic.
Oh yeah. No doubt. Yeah.
Ozzy says he's just working on a holster.
He's very fine. He's out there listening. So yeah,
Yep.
let's
We
spin
don't
this.
mind that. Spin it. No whammies. No whammies.
We're spinning. We're gonna get our third topic here, so
That's right.
we can move on. It's a Sunday, and I know
No whammies. And Mark wins it again.
2 weeks in
Mark
a row
wins it 2 weeks in a row. Is
or
that
two
the
shows.
first time that we've had
That's the first
two
time we've
weeks
had.
in a row?
I don't ever remember back to back.
I don't remember either. All
Yeah,
right, Mark, what you got for us this week?
that
It
was
could be
luck.
bubblegum flavors, hot rod sports cars, best
If
guitarists of all time,
keep,
movies,
keep
food,
you could keep the gun talk going.
or you can keep the gun topic going. Anyway, we're
We'll,
going to be fine.
we'll start a timer. Give him I don't know 15, 20, 30 seconds, maybe something like that, Mark. So he's out there because he's replying to Ozzy and stuff. He
Yeah.
said he
Chris
wants.
just said he got a full set of adjustable rings from Monstrum, and they're nice. Oh, this is something that. Oh,
So
he
we are.
said Chevy or
So we
Ford.
are officially off the gun topics.
We
So
are
tonight,
off the gun topic. I
there we
know what
go.
you're going with, but
Yeah, yeah. First on race day, baby.
yeah. So over the last month or so, I'm going to say this real quick. Over the last month,
Hmm.
our glorious, inglorious bastard of a friend Chase has got me.
Hey, real quick,
Yeah,
Jesus, when you hear this, brother,
yeah.
you are super behind, and you when you're watching a live, you need to make sure that it's live. And if you scroll over the screen, you'll have a little thing that says live. You can click it, and it'll turn to a red dot, or you can refresh. But you're putting in 8, and
Well, he put the
that's
8
what
in
you're doing.
along.
Ghost just dropped. That was weird. He didn't put the 8 in. No, they didn't. Ghost is back,
Well, that
maybe.
was funny. My mouse has buttons on the side, and I absolutely tapped it, and one of them is to go back in the internet. So
Well,
yeah,
he just well, Mark just put his topic in at 8:55, and then Jesus out there types 8 at 8:55. So
yeah. Well, he also typed an 8 at 8:44. So
oh, so he tried to do
yeah,
it twice.
he did. He's trying to game the system for next week.
Oh, Jesus is trying to cheat the system.
He's trying to game the
I
system. I'm
get it.
not. I won't say cheat, but he's
Okay,
definitely
no
trying to
hate,
game it. Yeah.
no hate. Hey, try to hey. If it
Hey,
try it, if it works,
Jesus can do what he wants, right?
if it works, yeah, right. This is true. No longer argued with the Jesus, Big
Yeah. No, we're
Lebowski.
just
Right?
messing with you, Jesus. We're just having fun.
Don't f with the
Um,
Jesus, man. I got
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So our inglorious bastard friend Chase about a month ago
yeah.
turned me on to a Netflix thing called F1. And you know me, I'm not a race guy. I don't like races. I don't like NASCAR. I don't like IndyCar. Car races bore me outside of drag racing. They bore me.
Boo.
I have watched some Le Mans before. I think that's kind of interesting, a 24-hour race of Le Mans. But he turned me on the F1 Netflix special, so I started watching. I get hooked. So today was the F1 Grand Prix in Canada.
Mm.
Was the first F1 race I've ever watched, and
Oh,
I had a blast watching it. And I'm kind of hooked on F1. Now, obviously, Chevy and Ford are not involved with F1, but for me to actually watch a race, the great thing about it is they're short laps, they're fun laps because a lot of stuff can happen in them, and the whole race lasted less than like about an hour and a half. It was fantastic. I love it.
so blah blah
Um,
blah. You want to know what
yeah,
I heard? What I heard
yeah,
is Clover said first on race day. I can't argue with that because Ford is number one. So I'm going to go off on a tangent about race cars and F1.
yeah,
That's what I heard.
yeah.
Ford
Well,
wins.
I said before we start, I'm just letting people know that today I watched my first F1 race, which is kind of
Now,
interesting.
now to be fair here, you've got a Hummer, correct? Which is
I
GM
do, yeah,
now, right? Aren't
I
they?
do, yeah, yep, it is, yep.
So that's a
I take it to
GM.
the Chevy place to get oil change
That's a
and
Chevy. Yeah,
all that stuff. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I grew up. So this is interesting. I grew up with a Ford dad, right? Big Mustang guy, big Mustang guy.
Yeah.
I've owned a couple of different Mustangs. I had a 65 was my first car. I had a 90 5.0 GT convertible at one point in my life.
Mhm.
My dad had a Thunderbird,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah.
So Ford has kind of, I've never been a Ford fan.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not don't dislike them. It's just it's what it is.
Right.
But I also Chevy doesn't really do much. The new Camaros aren't bad looking.
Right.
Um,
Right.
but I'm not a pickup guy. So I don't. If I was going to do a pickup, it sounds bad. I'd
Yeah.
probably go Toyota. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I don't like. I'm not a big Corvette outside of like the 68, 69 Stingray eras. I'm not a big Corvette guy. I really don't have a dog in this fight. So I guess if I had to choose one, just from nostalgia reasons, I'll say Ford.
Yeah. Well, see, it's interesting when you go nostalgia reasons. So so both grandfathers worked for Ford.
Yeah.
One was a mechanic, and one was a mechanic on the auto side of that, or in the assembly plant on the auto
Hmm.
side of things. The other one was a mechanic in the tractor division of Ford. Believe it or
Okay,
not,
sure.
had a great grandfather actually, and then had a grandfather, and then I also had a great uncle that owned a Ford dealership for decades.
Yeah.
Um, Now, interestingly enough, my dad is diehard diehard
Is he
Chevy.
really? Nice.
Oh yeah,
Interesting.
oh yeah, yeah. He would walk before he
Did he do
drove a
that just to
Ford.
piss his brother or dad off?
I don't know, maybe.
Maybe.
Uh, but yeah, he would walk before he drove a Ford. Um, yeah, which is crazy. Being a mechanic for a number of years, I can say this, and of course, I haven't been a mechanic. I can't speak to anything. Probably newer than about a 2000 model. You know, something like that. But I could a little bit newer than that. Maybe let's go 2005 or six model, maybe. But historically, when you talk about the difference, and I'm talking pickups here, really, superior transmission has been Ford. Superior front end has been Ford. Superior air conditioning has been Ford. you know,
Right.
Superior torque at Ford Straight Six. Oh my God, at the torque that you got out of that old Ford Straight Six, right?
Yeah.
So again, we're not talking brand new stuff, and it's opinion based regardless. But um, yeah, yeah, Ford for the win. That's what I say.
Real quick, this brings funny. So Jesus says, "What about just being an American concerned about our rights, our kids, and what's in store for us if Biden cheats again?" Mark replies, "Jesus or Jesus, first, it's a fun question. Second, we know he's going to cheat again, like Ford tractors have a 10 in line." So, great comeback, Mark.
Beautiful.
Fantastic, beautiful, beautiful. Well played, sir. Well played. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Scott says his first car is a '73 Maverick with a 302 in it. There you go.
So it is Jesus's first time here. So I
It
don't
is.
know if he came from a different channel or just happened across this. So this is a
Yeah.
collaboration. Good time to explain this as we
Yeah.
close out. But this is a collaboration between the Ghost Tactical channel and the CloverTac channel. We are firearm channels. We're not political channels. And this is the Ghost and Clover podcast, which is sort of a talk about whatever we want to talk all about. Blow off steam type stuff.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great political channels out there, and if that's the conversations that you want to have on a Sunday evening, well, we're blowing off steam. Hey, you're not
We
faulted
can't
by
get
jumping.
political. It's not that we aren't. We're actually both of us are incredibly political, just in private conversations that a matter of fact,
You know
hell,
who is
Clover and
for?
I had a great hour, 2 hour conversation earlier the week that was all
Well,
political, and
it's
it was fantastic.
well, and there has been those topics that's come up on this show before,
Yeah,
either by us or by somebody in the chat. But the viewers don't drive the show except for the third
yeah,
topic. That's just the way this
yeah.
works, and so um, I don't know.
And a lot of time this show should
Welcome,
come
and we
about.
like to see you here, but at the same
Yeah.
time, respect the format and understand that this is just the way we do things right now.
Well, I think this format was created
Blow
for
off steam.
people to see other sides of
Yep.
us that
Yeah.
aren't the gun guy.
Mhm.
We have both
Totally.
of us have very how do I put this eclectic interests in our
I think
lives,
everybody
and
does. I don't think there's a
yeah,
single person out there that doesn't. It's not into 15 different things and just
absolutely,
multiple stuff that they enjoy. So I think it's
absolutely.
pretty common. Yeah.
Welcome, Jesus, and hope to see you again. Like I said, um, yeah, it's a fun podcast. We hope you've enjoyed it so far,
Check out
and
the
if
other
you're able,
podcasts and the other stuff on the channels and whatever.
yeah,
Like I don't even know what channel he's on right now. He
I'm
could be
not
on
sure what
Ghost and
side he's
Clover.
on. Yeah, I'm not
Who
sure if
knows?
he's on mine or yours or the
Oh,
Ghost and Clover. I
and
don't know.
if you really want to get into the political stuff, Jesus, Self Defense Radio Network. You could probably find a lot of that stuff, a lot of stuff
Yeah,
over there for
for
sure.
sure.
Yeah. So
Um,
let's
yeah,
work
Ford
on
versus
that.
Chevy. I think we both would pick Ford out of those two. I'm picking Ford out of default.
Yeah, I go Ford.
Honestly,
Yeah, I go Ford.
um,
It's not default. I absolutely choose Ford. So
but yeah, I mean, I've had two Mustangs. My dad's had a Thunderbird. My wife drove a Lincoln Navigator for a decade, and that's a Ford chassis. It's basically a Ford Expedition chassis.
yeah,
But it's a Lincoln is a Ford, or at least it was. I'm sure it is still, but it's a
got
Ford owned brand.
yeah.
So
I've got a F-150 in the drive now, and a Mustang in the yard. And wife drove. My wife's had 4 or 5 Mustangs
yeah,
over the years. So over 30 years span or something. So yeah,
yeah,
let's get out of here.
sounds good. What do you got coming up this week, if anything?
I talked a little bit about. I'm just trying to get caught up with the rain and thunderstorms set back in. So a
Yeah,
couple of videos right now are setting, waiting on the channel members. If you are a channel member, jump over there and get access. If not, they will drop eventually. Um, what did I drop? I dropped the PD-10 nine
PD10. Yeah,
millimeter versus the 30 Super Carry in the PD-10. Hopefully, we'll have some more 30 Super Carry ammo coming. And when that happens, I can maybe compare to some 380s, do some more extensive, playing around with 30 Super Carry. But got the ball rolling with that one. I think that dropped Friday. Um, yeah, gearing up for GunCon here in a couple of weeks. Get to see Chris from the 740, probably, hopefully. And got some new patches coming. I heard about that today, which they'll be kind of the
if you
super
know, you
secret.
know.
If you know, you know. They'll be kind of super secret, very, very hard to obtain. But if you just gotta have
Or
one,
at least you gotta you
I'm gonna have
yeah,
some. I'm gonna have an alternative method. I think we'll talk off air about
yeah,
that. But
yeah.
I've already had some interest, but they will be hard to obtain. Um, what else? Oh, I want to play around. I've been playing around over on X for a
Yep,
while now.
same here. Yeah.
And
Well, not for a while, but
so
for a
I
few weeks.
upgraded my account. I did some other stuff
Same.
the other day, and noticed that some of the features and stuff you have to have 500 followers to unlock. I'm at like three something. I'm more than halfway there. If
Yeah,
you are on
I'm
X,
at
if
like
you're listening,
533 or something like that.
yeah,
So
if you're
yeah.
listening to this and you are on X, I have never made a push to go follow. I don't know how I
Nope.
got that many
And
without
neither
even
do
making
I.
a push. So I'm gonna make a push. I'm gonna say if you're on X, go over there and give that CloverTac a follow, please, if you will. Thank you very much. What about you?
Yeah, I started doing some stuff on X. Had a great talk with a buddy that works at Avant Link at NRAM, and he was saying, "Hey, start utilizing X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it." And for the longest time, my Twitter or X exposure was literally when I posted an Instagram post, it automatically used to post to Twitter, and it doesn't do that anymore. But that was my presence on that in it, and so I don't really have one, and I don't know how I got 500 and some odd followers, probably from the Instagram or the pictures over there. That said, I am starting to utilize it as well. We had to put some links out there that other platforms may not like
Heck
or
yeah.
allow.
Yeah.
And I'm enjoying it so far. Thanks, Elon, for letting us do some of that stuff for now, at least. But yeah, get over there, follow both of us. Just do a search for Ghost Tactical over there, and do a search for CloverTac, and I'm sure our logos will pop up. And if you know our channel logos, and it'll be very easy to find. I've got to I put out a video over the weekend on the Cox Arms EMR rifle. Fantastic rifle. I've also got a video coming out on the Gideon Advocate. I've got a couple of those they sent me that I've found different rifles and all of that. I'm gonna do one on those. I've got a bunch of stuff I got to catch up on. Where I have finally figured out that my sweet spot is one, I don't get home from work till about 6:30, between 6:30 and 7. But now that it's kind of summertime, it doesn't get dark till 9. So I'm only about 5 minutes from the range.
Hmm.
And I can drive after work, get some range therapy, and get some stuff filmed. More importantly, no one's there that time of day, so it's even
Right.
better.
Okay.
It's great. The last couple times I've been has been like at 7 o'clock, and guess what? I'm the only one there. It's been fantastic. So yeah, I'll be starting to get some stuff out. I will not be at GunCon. My next visit with anything is going to be at Goals in August
Heck
over
yeah.
in Knoxville, the Gun Owners of America's Goals Summit and Expo. Go check that out, and then I'll be at TriggerCon in September, and then it'll be nothing till SHOT. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Awesome.
You got anything before we get out of here?
Joey doesn't share food.
Okay. Well, the weather forecast for tonight is dark.